This is a 100% cotton t-shirt that has not been soaked in soda ash. It has only been soaked in water and then spun out in the washing machine. Because we're going to do one of the low immersion dyes. I'm still going to fold it, flip the arms inside each other and all that, since it's a symmetrical design. And if you need details on how to do this first part, there's a separate video listed in the description that explains this process step by step, although it's taking me a while this time. Touch that up. Let's go ahead and mark off freehand. It's not a circle, it's just kind of a arc. And then I'll go ahead and run this as an accordion. And I'm doing these pretty thick. I mean, that's what? Almost 1.5 inches for the accordion. And it's because I'm looking for a more square finished piece. As much as I think it needs to. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do sinew. You could do rubber bands on this without too much of an issue. Only reason I'm using sinew is because I think it's going to take a fair bit of manipulation to move this side around. So to make my life easier, I'm using sinew. And as you can see, I wasn't pulling really tight on that. It's just to hold it in place. So I'm going to touch up. I will go ahead and touch up both sides on the accordions and then drop some rubber bands on it. So now I've got this. This is longer than I want to work with. I needed about half this size. The problem is, I mean, can't really do that, and doing this from experience does something isn't necessarily good in the design. So let's see what I can do here. Because as you do this, it's no longer those straight lines that were put into place. So, looks like a lobster. I made a lobster. Let's see. I can't fold it either way, to be quite honest. Although that would arguably keep the line straight, you just have a weird fold. You know what? I'm going to try that. I don't think I've ever done this to one. I've done some other weird folds to stuff, but I don't think I have ever folded something back on itself like that before. Let's get this lined up. Alright. Alright, I think I'm going to start from this side, and this is two things. This is an extreme incline and, hold on, camera's probably freaking out. This is an extreme incline and a low immersion dye. It's probably a really bad idea. The extreme incline is literally vertical, and everything's going to be dyed from this and just allowed to run through it. That's why I need it to be pretty short, but like chunky here at the top so that I have a lot of surface area to work with. I don't need to measure anything out. I just need to make sure it's going to stay stable the whole time. Guess I'll go with that. I mean, it's pretty tight, I think. This is either going to be really awesome or one of the less good ideas. Yeah, we'll go with less good ideas. All right, off to dye. All right, this one is completely different. This is vertical, so I'm not sure how well this is going to record. What I'm going to do is I've got 3 colors. Let me get this out of the way. Lemon yellow, fire red, and turquoise, I think. I'm just going with those 3. I might change this. What I'm going to do is apply each color just across the top, ice it up, let it melt through. And the problem is I can't see how far it's going down until it actually starts dripping out the bottom. So what I'm probably going to do is go ahead and do the color, the dye, ice it, let it melt, do the same color again, ice it, let it melt, and then move to the next color. Remember, this has no soda ash in it, so none of the colors are being set while this process is going on. We'll set the colors after this is finished. So let's go ahead and start, I guess. Alright, that's all there is to this. We'll let it melt and go from there. Alright, so that's the first melt through with the yellow. I'm going to just apply some more ice. Let that melt through, and then we'll go to the next color. Alright, the ice is melted through, so I'm going to go ahead and add the turquoise. Alright, let that melt through. We've got the yellow and the blue as the second batch of ice. So let's put on the red, add the ice. Alright, once again we'll let this one melt through and then go on to the next step. Alright, it's mostly melted through. I'm going to do one more round of ice. So that'll be the second one for the red and the 6th total round of ice. And then we'll be able to do the next step in this one, process for this one. Let that one sit there. And one more, just for good measure. Alright, let that one melt through completely, then I can move on to the next step. Alright, so I've made up a solution of 2 cups of water at about 115, 120 degrees with 4 tablespoons of soda ash mixed in, and I'm going to pour that over this. I'm going to let it sit for a little bit, maybe 5 minutes or so. Alright, I've pulled it out of the cardboard box, mixed another batch. This time it's 2 cups of water at about 115 degrees with 2 tablespoons of soda ash. So let's go ahead and pour that on. Alright, I'll let that sit for about 5 minutes and then we'll go to the next step. Alright, mixed up another batch of the soda ash solution. Again, 2 cups of water at about 115 degrees with 2 tablespoons of soda ash. And I'll go ahead and apply this again. Alright, I'll let that sit for a couple of hours or so, give or take, and then we'll do the washout. Alright, it's been a few hours since the last step. Just an observation about this. It looks like it's mostly black, muddled colors, a little bit of red, wherever that's, wherever that's there on that one spot. Mostly green, and a teeny tiny little bit of yellow left. So we'll see what comes of this. Let's take a look at this. Well, first observation, there's a little teeny tiny bit of yellow. That's all that's left of that. It's mostly green, although I am seeing some reds or purple at this point. So, throw it in the washing machine and then we'll have a final look and see what came of this. Alright, so here are the results of this. And ignore my little laugh-like sounds on this. It is nothing like what I thought it would be. I mean, I went with primary colors, and true primaries. I see almost no blue. I mean, certainly not the amount of blue I put in. There's just a tiny little bit. The red actually stuck in, and the overwhelming is green. So wherever the yellow went, the blue followed. Except for these tiny little patches. I'm torn. It's not my normal look, obviously, because, well, okay, there's a tiny, that's like the last little holdout of yellow or almost white at that spot. Anyway, sorry, side topic. It's not like the normal stuff that I do. I rarely do earthy tones, pastel. It's more of an earth than a pastel. It's normally bright and vibrant, and I have to admit, I kind of like the results. It's not what I was expecting at all. I wasn't expecting green everywhere. I was expecting green for part of the design. Now, I'm not sure where I could go from here for experimenting as far as what colors to go with or what kind of pattern to work with, because it has to be folded into a fairly small, compact area to work with. Now, as far as the actual process working, I mean, it did work out. The soda ash made contact with enough of the dye to actually have everything set, and that worked out good. It's definitely got a lot of the movement look to it. These, let me see. I mean, they look almost like feathers. There's definitely a light and airy kind of, I don't know. Let's see, did I get that one? It's the one that needs to be up there. It's just all the fine detail, but yet no fine detail. It's kind of odd. You get a hint of fine detail, but it's really all a blur. And I don't normally get that type of thing. So doing it pure vertical caused all of this kind of look to it, and I like the overall look, I'm just not sure where to go to try this again. I'm not sure what difference it would be going with liquid versus the ice, but I think I would continue doing ice just because that's generally the type of stuff I do, although I'd use a lot less dye in the process if I just went with liquid. I could probably burn through the entire thing in like 8 hours or less if I just did liquid, versus the close to 36 hours I think I took with this one. It might have been 40, somewhere around there, hours. So I guess I'm just really trying to figure out where to go from here. What do you think, other than colors? Do you have any suggestions for patterns or something to try for this that I could either fold on itself or compact down enough to do this as a pure vertical? I have an idea, and I'm not sure I'll have time to do it before I won't be able to do any dyeing for a while. So I'm going to have to think on this quite a bit. This definitely is one to come back to as far as the overall process. It's not even truly a low immersion because it's never immersed in the soda ash solution. It's almost just a hot water irrigation, but even hot water irrigation is done differently and it tends to still sit in it for a little bit of time. This one, it was poured on and it didn't sit in it. It was just allowed to sit in whatever was retained in the material. So this is something I want to play with a little bit more, just to see what is possible. Okay, I've been rambling for quite a bit. I appreciate any comments or suggestions in the comments below. And if you enjoyed the experiment and that kind of stuff that I do, or any of the other designs that I do, I'd appreciate your subscribing. Until next time, thanks for watching.